I was one of the people who commented and fight, with my own comments. I would say
you're the one defending yourself.
I'm the one defending myself. Girl, you gotta be your own knight in shining armor. I am the content creator, I'm the knight in shining armor, I'm the producer, I'm the writer, I'm the everything.
She can do it all.
She can do it all. I'm Mark Jacobs by Mark Jacobs by Mark Jacobs.
Before we start off with today's episode, I'd like to give a big shout out to IMDA for teaming up with us for 3 episodes on digital wellness as part of their Digital for Life campaign. What does digital wellness mean? How can we practice good online habits, ensure cyber safety, and reduce our risks to online harms? The Digital for Life movement aims to enable the community and citizens of all ages to embrace digital learning as a lifelong pursuit. With digital as a new way of life, we need to know what to do and how to take care of our digital wellness. We can make the internet a better, safer, and kinder place for everyone. To find out more, visit go.gov.sg/digital wellness. Hi guys, thanks for joining me on the show today. So it's not often we get 2 influencers on our show, so very happy to have you both here. Let's start off with a bit of an introduction.
So my name is Belle. People know me better as Belly Belly Jelly, and I am a creator in this digital space as well as the founder of Kai.
My name is Mathilda, I'm a content creator as well. I do a 9 to 5 and I have a small cheese board and sangria business on the side.
You're a hustler. Very stressed, but cool.
I took leave for today.
Just for this podcast, very touched. Very thankful to have you both here. The topic that we are talking about today is specifically on online harassments and cyberbullying, and I think the reason why we got both of you down is because I think you're both not strangers to this. Both of you have experienced it in your personal journey as content creators online, right? Living in the digital space as well. So I think for Belle, you've personally had like your private videos being shared, and then for you, Mathilda, it's a situation where I think people were harassing you for your size and your appearance online. Facing like harassment and like cyberbullying online is something that is sadly not like unfamiliar for a lot of us. So I think what we're going to do is have a conversation a bit about like some of your experiences online and then how you manage your mental health and respond to these like harassments.
I think for me, as a content creator, being launched into the space of both Instagram, TikTok, and now YouTube, we get a fair amount of comments. I think for me, maybe it's like the size and appearance, but a lot of them, they go from very minimal ones, like using words like FAT, fat, from, saying like, oh, you look so different from 5 years ago, these kind of backhanded compliments, or like, bestie, this look ain't it. These kind of things happen very often, but of course there's like a spectrum, right? We look at the minimal comments and then we look at the ones that, accuse me of like having a medical disease called thyroid, or, even personally attacking my relationships, even digging into where my parents stay, things like that.
I'm so sorry to hear that. I feel a bit angry.
No, oh my god, I'm also angry, but I don't want to say it. Okay, yeah.
But for me, I guess it's more targeted to just making me feel ashamed. So it could be just certain words like I saw you, or like you are such a slut, you are like a whore, you are all these very derogatory comments. Then it can be at the other spectrum where they will reach out to my clients, they will reach out to people that I know, that I work with, my family, just to say like, oh, how you friends are proud of her, or how you like okay with how she is like as a person. And I guess across the years, it does hurt. But I think with good support, you really like, you feel better and you feel more supported.
Cyberbullying and online harassment can be quite, like you said just now, right, a broad spectrum, right? It could be just a nasty comment like, oh, you're ugly, to like really like, to DM you is like, you are like blah, 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 like a targeted insult, right? So I'm wondering for you guys, like, what are some of the really like bad things that have happened? And then also, how often do you guys get these types of harassments?
There was like a 20+ page hardware zone forum on me, and girl, like when I spoke and I was like, hello, who is saying I have thyroid here?
Did you find it, or like
someone sent it to me, and I was just like, oh, this is happening. And then we found out so many others under my name, so literally just Google like my name and hardware zone. A couple of them came up, and in that time, honestly, in that like split second of panic, I just told my boyfriend, okay, let's pretend we're a management team and say we're a management team of me, and then take it down from there. So when that happened, like we realized that there was like a flaw in the system. It was actually just them sharing like photos from my Instagram, talking about my weight and how I've changed within the past 5 years, meaning like my weight gain. And then, you know, they were speculating like different things. There were a lot of hurtful words being said. A lot of really funny like terms like Sinky Boo or Dino Boo. I believe actually none of them really hurt me until I saw one that talked about me having like a medical disease called thyroid. I honestly turned to my partner at that point. I was like, okay, babe, do you think I really have thyroid? Like, can you explain what is thyroid? And like, do you think I have it? Should I get myself checked out? You know, this gave me like huge, immense anxiety because I'm always a bit afraid of like getting sick, you know, falling sick, especially in, you know, these times of COVID.
Yeah, and thyroid is a hormonal disease, right?
Yeah, that causes you to gain weight, I think, really quickly. So I would spend time during my office hours, you know, scrolling through these comments. It just didn't sit right with me. And there was actually nothing much I could do aside from email the How's Zone forum people to take it down and say that, you know, there was clear doxing here. They were sharing, you know, things like my old house at my parents' place. They were trying to dig into my parents' occupations as well. So that was the part that didn't really sit right at that point. It felt too invasive.
Did they manage to take it down?
They managed to take it down because there was proof that I was actually being doxed at that point. Doxed meaning like harassed with the information.
For me, it's also the same, but it was more tailored, like skewed towards you don't deserve to be alive. Is she dead yet? You know, I think that's the most extreme part of it.
Yeah.
There were so many different like threads about like, oh, you know, I think she should kill herself. Maybe you give her a few days. Yeah. And it didn't really feel that great. But now, given that it's so many years ago, I think the best thing that I did was actually to not stay on the platform.
Right.
So just, you know, spend time with family, try your best to detach yourself. And I think that really greatly helped my mental health because the more you consume, the more it'll stay in your brain.
Yeah.
And the more it'll replay across the years and you will never stop. And I strongly urge, if you know anybody who is saying such comments, to just call them out because it's not kind, you know, and especially in this day and age when you see it on Instagram. I just saw it on Instagram, not of me, but towards someone else yesterday. And I just felt this like stinging in my heart that this is not nice. Like, why would you say things like that to someone who's already going through something that's, you know, really stressful in her life already?
I'm wondering if you can share like how did you feel after like seeing the forum?
Yeah, I mean anger. Really, anger and anxiety because of the medical issue, right? I really doubted myself at that point. I was thinking like, oh my God, is there really something wrong with me? So I started to look inwards. I mean, because you can't blame other people. They see things that I don't. You know, they observe things that I obviously don't see in myself from day to day. So right after that, I think I actually tried to get myself checked out and like, you know, see like, hey, you know, there's something wrong with me, but everything's clear, everything's okay. Then I was like, okay lah, nothing much. And then I decided one day as well, I talked to my mom about it, and she's like a huge 21st century woman, right? She's just like, girl, this one all background noise leh. I'm like, oh yeah, that queen. You know what I mean? Like, just queen right there. So when she reminded me of that, she reminded me that also that, you know, my voice is what matters. How I react and how I respond to it is what matters. Not really much of what they say.
For me personally, like, because I'm a nobody, right? So like if somebody harasses me online, it's easy for me to identify this person and then tell them like, hey, like back off. But then for you guys, from your experiences that you've shared, it seems like it's many people, you know,
Right.
There's no just one face that is doing this. So I guess the question is like, how do y'all respond to it? And like, how do you manage it?
I think for forums like Hardware Zone, they are actually regulated. In the way, they take doxing cases very seriously in harassment. So if you have proof of it, always just write into the admin to take it down. And usually they will take it down. Unless they find, okay, there's no issue here, there is no harassment here, then they won't take it down. You know, it's up to public opinion then. In terms of personal accounts that you mentioned, right, I usually won't pursue most of them. Block and delete is like my favorite two things to do. If you're not giving me feedback that is, you know, constructive, I'm not listening to you. If you're just going to comment on my appearance, well, I also know that too. You know, it's things that you're telling me things that I'm already self-aware of. So it doesn't help me to grow my own development and to be a better content creator for you. So in that case, you don't serve me, you're out. Aside from that, I think the only one that I would really call out is people of power and authority, or, you know, sometimes even businesses who I've worked with before, you know, call out for accountability, call out for, actions, for your words and everything. Yeah.
I think for me, it's pretty simple, like what she says, just two things, block and delete. Another thing I would do, especially, if you guys want to take care of yourself, you can actually block certain words on all the different platforms, on TikTok, on Instagram. You can even block emojis. So if you know that you have a trigger word, for example, like ugly, or if you have a trigger word like acne. So these are words that you can actually block from your comment section and also from messages to you. And you know that way you can actually protect yourself and better care for your mental health, knowing that these words will not trigger you anymore. So they won't be able to leave comments if the word is inside.
I see. So if I wanted to comment like ugly, they'll be like, sorry, your comment is it cannot go through.
I
see. Okay.
That is fantastic because for TikTok, right, you actually have the choice to approve or delete the comment. So when that comment comes up, like let's say if you want to use ugly, right? It will
so if you've blocked the word already?
Yeah, so they blocked it first. But then you have the power to choose whether you want to approve or delete.
So you still see it. Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody's on TikTok now. It's so fast and easy, right? It seems like more people are hiding behind like an anonymous account and really just like spitballing like really rude things. And it's not just you guys, it's like anybody online that is on TikTok. If they do something that's maybe like marginally like a bit like off, then they get, you're like damn disgusting, or like that's not it, sis, that's what they love to say, right? So I'm wondering like what are some of the experiences y'all have had and like how do y'all manage TikTok? Why y'all still want to do TikTok then, I guess?
On TikTok, there's a lot of hate, right? Because people are hiding behind their usernames. But there are also these knight in shining armor. That they'll be like scolding back, towards the bullies, and then there'll be a whole fight in the comment section. And when you look at it, it's actually quite entertaining. But like I said before, it gives me a lot of confidence in where our digital space is going, because there are people actually looking out for such cases and actually taking the step to stand up, against the bullies.
Yeah. Mine really appears a lot in comments, right? So a lot of them will be saying very, very, very backhanded compliments or, things that commenting on appearance again. So it's only up to recently I realized that there was this function where you can block out words. So I don't really see much of them anymore. However, I used to fight with them all the time as well. I was one of the people who commented and fight, with my own comments. I would say
you're the one defending yourself.
I'm the one defending myself. Girl, you gotta be your own knight in shining armor. I am the content creator, I'm the knight in shining armor, I'm the producer, I'm the writer, I'm the everything.
She can do it all.
She can do it all. I'm Mark Jacobs by Mark Jacobs by Mark Jacobs. so I would say things like, your mother. I'll be like,
I'm screaming.
I'm so sorry, but oh my God, I stoop to the level. I'm so sorry. I'm so guilty of this. And of course, I realized after a while, okay, fine. That was really childish of me. So I actually did like a three-part series.
Wait, sorry, I just want to add. So you said your mother, right? Then like,
they got nothing to say. They got nothing to say. They got nothing to say.
So they really like your mother, then they like,
Diam.
That's it, like surrender.
That's it.
Interesting.
Yeah, or they'll like go on fuel it and it just doesn't make sense really.
Yeah.
At some point it's just like, okay, you know what, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like, I got what I want. So yeah, and then I realized that, that's not me, I'm not really like this in real life. I don't want people, seeing me for the first time see that I'm this kind of person. I'm not really, I will stand up for myself, but this wasn't the right way to do it, in my own view. So I went to do a 3-part series, talking about standing up for myself and, giving them 3 scenarios as well, telling them like, okay, I know what you think I am. You think I'm a pick-me girl. I didn't mean for myself to seem like a pick-me girl, but I was really just trying to defend my own self. And, I made it clear that whatever you're saying, I really am aware of. I'm very self-aware as a person. I know I have gained weight over the past 5 years. You don't have to reiterate it to me. And then, this, in that case, silences them. It just takes away their power because I've said it all myself. I've even called myself out. I've said I'm toxic and I recognize that and I'm accountable for my own actions. What about you guys? I throw it right back to them.
I'm curious to know because I think a lot of times when you face online harassment or cyberbullying, right, it's a very emotional kind of thing. It's it feels like a personal attack. And I think for us, just to share on our platforms also we mostly get harassment on YouTube because I think that same people can anonymously comment, right? So there was one episode that we did that was talking about like subtle forms of harassment that women face.
Okay.
And then some people came to call us like this term called GCP, which means like golden cheese pie, which means that we are like materialistic women. But it's very like unwarranted also, because like it's a situation where it's like, like we're talking about us being harassed, so I don't know what's the like relevance there. And
right.
I think when I saw that comment, it felt very unjust, and I immediately wanted to be like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, and like go on the offense. I was like, but I think my question is for the two of y'all seem to approach it quite differently. I would say that like Belle, you're quite just sweet about it, I feel. But Mathilda, you're a lot more like aggressive.
Sometimes I wish I was more like her, you know?
I'm wondering why y'all have like, how do y'all decide that, you know, this is the approach that I want to take with like managing like harassment? Yeah. And then maybe like some thoughts on like how we can like manage like when we face this kind of comments online. Yeah. Because I think it's tough, right? It's like difficult to be like, just don't see it, like just don't go and like acknowledge it. But like sometimes it's just like, wow, at the back of your mind, and you're like thinking about it non-stop. So yeah.
I think in our line of work, we are very self-aware, and also we are very mindful, and we try to put ourselves in like their shoes. So the mindset that I have is that they are already out to misunderstand me. Whatever I say, it's just not going to make sense to them. They are not going to like me. They are not going to be kind to me. So why do I want to retaliate? Because I'm just giving them more of my time. I can spend this time taking better care of myself, because if it already hurts me, then how do I make sure that I am able to just put it behind and move on? You know, and not let it like scar me too much. So I think that's my kind of approach. Yeah. Sometimes I wish that, you know, I could like, there are points where I really want to type and scold back. Then I look at my sentences, I'm like, there's no punchline. Then I'm like, okay, never mind, forget it.
Does that feel like a good...
Next time I'll text Mathilda.
Okay.
Can you help me vet first? Is the answer okay?
How to sound stronger? How to sound more aggressive? Funny
gosh. Okay, yeah. I think for me, like I don't think I'm a very offensive person lah.
You are not lah. Never say you lah.
Call it witty.
No, I mean, based on like our responses, right? Whatever they can use against us. So I make sure that I stand on a line of logic. I make sure I don't say anything that is untruthful, that puts anyone in harm's way. I make sure that everything I say is just very logical and like, hey, come on, let's be real. Like, you want to look inwards first, you know what I mean, before you comment. So it's not really like more of offensive, more of like I pick my fights, and I pick who is kind of like deserving of my time. Like, you know, she mentioned how in the time where if she's responding, like, she can, you know, instead of responding, she can use it to like take better care of herself. For me, it's more of like I will sift through and I will see like, okay, if this person, you know, you're a person of power or you're someone that I worked with before and you're saying these kind of things, let me clarify the situation with you then. I wouldn't say I would fight back. It's more of like clarifying your thoughts and like how else can I improve. Yeah, so I use it as like a building block, I guess, to be a better content creator, to be a better, I don't know, influencer, say, yeah.
We're taking a short break. Something Private is a podcast produced under local media publisher Our Grandfather's Story. This episode was made in collaboration with our friends at IMDA to talk about online harms and taking care of our digital wellness. Check out go.gov.sg/digital wellness to find out more. Now back to the episode.
So a situation that happened to me quite recently this year was that a particular user on Instagram DM'd me replying to my story. In that comment, he said, all I see is Jelly shaking. So, I mean, Jelly in this case would probably be me, right? I went to see his profile. You know, he tagged a cookie business that I collaborated with previously, and it deeply hurt me. I'm not gonna lie. Coming from a brand that I've collaborated with before, you know, one of your employees mentioned, you know, like all these kind of, how to say, like very hurtful words.
Yeah.
And, you know, I immediately went to the manager. I went to the cookie business. I said like, hey, does he have any like relation to you guys? I told the lady like, hey, this makes me very upset because he said this, and like, can I know what was the reason why? And then because I didn't want to approach him, because I already knew that he got caught and he unsent it, right? He unsent the whole thing, and he said that his friend sent the message. Yeah, I mean, we both know where this comes from. I mean, which 20-plus-year-old man actually gives their phone to anyone else, right? It doesn't make sense. Yeah, the story doesn't make sense. So I asked her, I told her, you know, the story doesn't really make sense. Like, will you hold him accountable? And she said that, oh, I'm so sorry on his behalf and everything. He's just an accountant. He doesn't know about our influencer marketing stuff. And I was just thinking in my head, well, then let's talk about accountability. I mean, as a company or as a small business, like, you guys should be aligned, right? In terms of your moral principles, how you want to conduct business. And is this how you guys talk about other influencers as well? Behind their back? I mean, then what was the point of collaborating with me if you didn't really like my story, or what, or if you didn't really, you know, feel like we were aligned? Why would you want to collaborate with me then? If this was, you know, going on in the background. You know, he actually did give me an apology in the end, but I could feel that he was hiding behind that PR shell. Meaning like hiding behind that business account.
It was an apology for the sake of it lah.
For the sake of it. Yeah, and to make things like seem okay. And then I told her like, is it okay if I share like this story on my stories, you know? And she said, oh, but you'll bring down our business. Then I said, oh no, as in I won't publicize your name. And you know, like the concern shifted, you know, it was like, oh, but then it will hurt our business.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, it was
Should I thought about that?
Yeah, whereas for me, it was more of like intention of sharing to my audience that, hey, you should call for accountability where it is possible, you know, and if you know who is the person behind it. In the end, I said, okay, I won't post your name. I mean, the point is that I wasn't going to post anyone's name as well. It was really just to drive the story of accountability, and hiding behind a PR shell doesn't really help. And a business should take accountability for everyone, and everyone should be saying the same story, you get where I'm coming from, in terms of how they view influencers or how they even conduct their business. So that was basically the conclusion. Both sides said sorry, and then we moved on.
You're very strong, sis. I think if there's one takeaway, it's really like, pick your battles, but also like,
to follow through.
Correct. Because I think a lot of times, sometimes we just like, it's tiring, lor. You're just like, forget it lah. Like, you just let it like pass, right?
Yeah, but it's like, how many times do you want to let it pass? Like, are they going to do it to other people? You wouldn't know. Are they going to hurt other people? And maybe the other people that they're going to hurt might be new creators who don't know what to do. You know, and they're clueless.
Correct.
Or like helpless or whichever. So,
I want to share one small story before we finally move on. Then it's super random, but like, I think it's like, basically there was once I posted like a selfie, then like, of me eating something, then somebody replied me. It was like a random anonymous person. They just replied me like, wow, very fat ah. Then I'm like, wait, what? So I screenshot that conversation, I upload on my stories, then I'm like, why do you all think this person said this to me? Then the person saw, then she was like, oh my god, sorry, like, I didn't mean to send it. It was actually meant for my boyfriend. Then
oh my god, yes, I get that a lot.
Oh my god, they mean they were gonna send it to their boyfriend.
Correct!
Oh my goodness.
It's like,
girl.
You know? So what do you do like when you see this kind of thing? You just ignore?
No, I'm like, oh, okay. I was like, because sometimes they'll reply to a story, right? I'm like, so ugly. You know?
Sorry.
Relax.
My love, them loud, sorry.
Yeah, it's very funny lor. So like, I'm thinking like, I guess the conclusion like in my head I'm thinking is like, I don't know, like it's on their end to be a bit careful also, right? But like, like we are humans also, you know what I mean? It's like, at the end of the day, we are somebody's friend, somebody's like sister, somebody's like daughter. So like, be mindful.
Back then, my friend has this saying, these are inside thoughts. Sometimes just keep it inside. You don't need to verbalize it. You know, just keep it inside. It's inside thoughts. You want to tell your friend, maybe you tell like verbally.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
It doesn't hurt anyone.
Yeah, if you think I'm ugly, then maybe you can tell your friend, but like, don't say it.
Don't like, they don't send it to you, right?
Yeah, very embarrassing though.
Actually, it looks very embarrassing on them. I don't really ask her. It's more of like, are you
Correct,
okay?
really
Like, do you know how to use Instagram? Like, no, really, do you know how to use? Do you need me to walk you through?
I guess with all the time that you all have been in online spaces, how do you all take care of yourself, and what motivates you all to keep being in these spaces? Because it's like so mentally exhausting and emotionally exhausting, right? Like who are the support systems for you guys?
Right.
Who do you all
For me, it's
support?
my best friend and my mom. What about you?
I think same also. Like, my best friend is my partner. So he'll keep me in check and he'll be like, okay, no lah, don't think so much. Like, it's really not that big of a deal. Or like my mom also. She'll tell me like, girl, background noise, come on. Like, let's get back to the, you know, like syllabus and everything. So they keep me grounded.
For me, you know, with your best friend, right? Any random thought that comes to your mind, you would just text. Hey, I'm just thinking about this. Or I feel hurt because of this. Then most of the time they'll be like, no lah, you're thinking too much. Or like, you know, just brush it off, you know. And then there's this quote, you know, those who matter don't mind and those who mind don't matter. I think that is something that resonated very well with me in the last 10 years as well. But I think your best friend is also yourself across the years. Learning and understanding how you evolve through the years. So like how I was when I was 25 is very different from how I am now. And what I could back then, now it's just like, I feel so uncomfortable looking at all these. What I do, especially, taking care of myself in this digital space that I work in for so long, is to curate the content that I consume. So back then, maybe I was consuming more of like travel content and like more like influencers. Now it's entirely like architecture, dogs, cute dogs, slime accounts. There's those soap cutting accounts also that are so therapeutic.
ASMR.
So, yes.
I love it. Yeah.
So I think it's things like that. Really helps it. Yeah. Like while you're zen out.
Right.
You purposely interact with the content that you like to see, is it?
Or then you follow the accounts, then your explore page is also like that. Similarly for TikTok as well.
Yeah. No, your FYP, right? You create it based on an algorithm or something.
Correct. So when they show you something that you don't like, you must immediately say, I'm not interested. And then you can curate your whole feed like that. So it really does help me a lot. And it makes everything very enjoyable. So there was a long period of time where I really didn't like social media.
Okay.
And in the last 2 years, with all these changes, it really helped so much.
What then motivated you to keep staying in the space during that kind of difficult period?
I feel very accountable to my audience. They grow up with me, and I've been doing this for about 10 over years. And if I am gonna be of this position of, I wouldn't say power, but more of to know that how I react to this is a testament of how I believe I should lead my life, and hopefully, how if someone else is going through the same thing, you can also stand up from it.
Yep.
And if my story is able to make people feel a bit stronger and a bit more, hopeful, then I think that my job in this industry is a lot more meaningful. So I really do enjoy my work. It's so nice, especially when someone comes to you and say, hey, you made my day. Simple things like that. I'm sure you experience something like that as well. People telling you that, you have inspired them. And I think that is the main part of the job that keeps us going. I don't know about you, but it really is for me.
Yeah, I never thought about it from the perspective where your kind of response or how you grow from it actually makes a lot of difference to your audience, right? And the accountability thing. I thought that was a really strong point, and I really think that you're really brave for that. Yeah, because
I think it's acknowledging the fact that you are human, and there are times where you cry, and maybe years down the road when you share your lowest points, when I'm sad, I write. So 3 years ago, I wrote something really dark. So now that I share it, looking back, I think a lot of people can also resonate with it. And I think similarly for you as well, a lot of people will resonate with your whole journey. And through it, gives our job a lot more purpose. It makes it more purposeful.
It actually really does. I just want to build on her point, right? She's really right. There are really good people out there. And these people are sounding board to what I'm doing. And they're, reaffirming me hey, okay, I'm on the right track. And whatever I share, I hope it helps you. And if it does, then that's fantastic. It keeps me going. If I listen to all the bad stuff, I will be a forever sad person, honestly. But then if I look at it the other way, it's oh my God, we can change people's lives right from in front of our screens. It's crazy. Our words, they have weight, and we can have the power to change someone's life, or how they see things differently from now on, or they can learn from our experiences.
You make them feel a little less alone, especially on topics where they are not comfortable with sharing it with their friends. And I think anybody who works in this online space has more power than they actually know. And it's with it, right? You learn how to properly present yourself. You keep yourself accountable. And that's why she said we are, most of the time, very, very self-aware. Might be a bit extreme sometimes because we will be extremely anxious. But I think it all just comes in a package with the job.
I want to ask a bit about the topic. None of us grew up with courses on how to be media literate, for sure. I don't remember anybody telling me online you should behave in a certain way. So sometimes when you go back and see your older posts, you're cringe.
Hey, why did I write like that?
Very embarrassing. But so I think for you guys are the perfect people to kind of come up with a handbook on how should we behave online. And I'm wondering, for the purposes of our audience, right, what are some of the maybe concrete steps that you all can come up with for us to make this online space a bit better? What do you think we can do in our own personal capacities?
For me, it's protecting yourself and your account, meaning setting up 2FAs. So 2FAs is two-factor authentication. To make sure that your accounts are always protected, there's even such a thing as 3FA now, which is authenticator apps. So
I did not know that.
Yeah, this is to triple protect your account. You know, if you see anything that really doesn't sit right, like doxing attempts, like people trying to reveal your location, people trying to dig up your past or dig up anything, it's good to keep receipts of like what they've said. In the case of like escalation to police, to higher authorities, and it's more of to support your story. Most of the times I feel in my situations, you know, it's so easy to say, oh, it's been deleted, or it's been unsent, so the damage is not done. However, like, how do I hold you accountable? It's through receipts, and it's through, you know, adding the extra layer of security that, you know, your words, taken down, you want to dispute about it, sure, but can we like work something out?
She has a PDF.
PDF. I have a PDF. I have solid documentation. And also be aware of like whatever personal information you put out. Things like are really simple that I can think of, right? It's like, you know, your running routes on Adidas or Nike. You know, people actually share their whole running routes, right?
Yep.
You don't block out the location that you're at. It's very easy to track where you're at, meaning like from an end point to start point to an end point. Oh, you're running around this one, so it's a pattern, and then people will notice like, oh, you're always running on a Tuesday night from this location to that location. So I think for me, it's a lot of fear of physical safety. You know, living alone, I think that really scares me. Like, I cannot afford to ever put myself in the risk of danger, because after all, I am one woman. Might not be able to fight men in that way, or like fight other people actually, not just men, sorry. So physical safety is very important to me, as well as also making sure that your content is always, you know, like protected, things like that, you know, don't really like fall out of your moral principles.
For ladies especially, or like even men, right? If anybody wants to stalk you and find out where you live, what's your habits, all they need to do is just go into the Strava, right?
Yes.
So I think that is something that people haven't talked about, like how it's actually dangerous.
The whole idea of like online spaces is that like we can, or the appeal of it is that we can share everything about ourselves online, right? So your point was that don't overshare like some personal information, right? But I think for a lot of young people, it's like, it's appealing, you know, I want that guy that like I have a crush on to like notice that I was here on Saturday, that kind of thing, you know. So but you don't know who is the misintended audience, right? So like how do you kind of like manage that, or how do you all advise like your younger audience to be like, actually it's not that important, like nobody cares that you are not nobody cares, but it's like it's not that important, you know what I mean?
I think for me, across the years, I try to backdate all my different like stories and stuff, so I don't post live anymore. So no one will know where I am at a particular point in time. But I think for the younger audience, you know, it really does help when a guy knows that you are there at the same restaurant, you know, or the same bar as him.
Or that you have like a certain hobby in common, right?
Yeah, then hopefully, you know, it will just increase the chances of them meeting. And I don't think that is, I think that is something that still would be valid, but you need to learn how to take care of yourself. For example, if you are posting something in like a live location, make sure that you are somewhere safe, or you're with a friend, you know. Always make sure that you are not alone, or if you want to, you know, let people know where you are, that place needs to be a place where maybe your friend knows that you're at. So if anything happens, your friend knows that, okay, you know, she's there 2 hours ago, and this might be where I can start finding her. So I think learning how to safeguard yourself at any point in time is very, very important. I make some time to go to the different schools to talk to the girls. Reason being, I'm just hoping that my story I wouldn't say it would deter you, but more of like, you need to be mindful of, okay, if I embark on this is what might happen.
Correct.
You know,
Consequences, right?
Media literacy, it is media literacy,
Yeah, and a lot of girls will ask like, oh, so after that, like, do you just delete like all your social media platforms? Then they'll come up with questions like that, and I think they feel very empowered knowing that actually there's life beyond it, you know, and there's life beyond any setback that you have. There's life beyond maybe like a really shameful experience. And I think learning how to bounce back and acknowledging the fact that I didn't do well last time, I made a mistake. But it's okay, it doesn't define me. What defines me is how I learn from it and where I go after. And I think talking to these girls about it just gives them this picture of like there's hope. And I think a lot of us just need to know that there's hope beyond all the terrible things that happen. And the only constant thing is that shit happens. And it's okay. Just reach out for help, be humble, and know that, you know, it's not great, but it will be better. So I think that has really helped me through.
How do you advise these younger girls to have a bit more like self-love, right? And know that like you don't have to do these things in order to have someone else love you, right? It comes from yourself first. Yeah.
But I do think that at that time, especially when you're a lot younger, you're really exploring,
Yeah.
you know,
That's
your
right.
sexuality, how you look,
Your
identity, and it might fluctuate from like maybe wearing very little to actually like just wearing sweats the whole day. You know, and I think it's heavily dependent on the people that you hang out with as well. But I think it all boils down to how you safeguard yourself, how you care for yourself, even if you want to embark on that. You know, because nowadays kids these days don't want you to tell them what to do.
It's true.
No, they really don't want
it's
to.
true.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with like being like, I want to post a sexy photo of myself. Really like go ahead.
It's
Yeah.
empowering actually.
Yeah, power
even
to you.
For them to explore themselves.
Yeah.
I think they're actually heavily influenced by whatever they see as well online. So that's why they emulate the same energy. They bring it to, you know, different platforms like TikTok and Instagram. I think it's perfectly fine to be explorative as well. But like I said, like really physical safety is everything. Online safety is of course everything as well. Wherever you can, protect yourself first. You come first in everything. Remember that you are the main character. And you cannot forget that.
I think a lot of people will be like, oh, you know, this is what I want to share. So it is up to the maybe the men to know how to act. But I think what they forget is that it goes hand in hand. So if you would like to share things like that, you need to know the dangers that surround you.
Yeah.
You know, how can you make sure that number one, they don't know where you stay. Number two, they don't know your habits. You know, how you can better just protect yourself. Yeah, sure. You know, you want to explore that way. Yeah. But you need to know that you have to take responsibility of your own safety. And it's not up to the other person to know how to act. It really goes hand in hand.
Correct. I really agree. And just want to add that it's not just men. Anybody can be
Yes,
predators.
oh, yes,
yeah.
yes.
What is one key takeaway that you would like the audience to have from this little session of ours?
If there's one word that comes to mind in terms of like how I deal with this space, it's more of like being resilient. And it doesn't mean that there isn't like you know, there's ups and downs. But the main thing is that if you're resilient through it all, you acknowledge that you're not perfect. You know, you will share your ups and downs. You will share that, okay, I'm going to improve myself in this way or another. And it will continuously be the journey. I think that's what people actually follow as well. They follow your entire journey. You know, they grow up with you. Your followers grow up with you, you know, they struggle alongside you. It makes me feel less alone, and I think it keeps me going in this space. And as long as you're resilient, you will go far. If you're a bystander, you dropping a comment and standing up, let's say for me, you know, you don't have to, but if you take the step to, it really does give me a lot of strength. You know, it makes me feel less alone, especially in this digital space. Like if you can just leave a comment and say, hey, that's not cool. Or you just leave, hey, actually, you know, I'm rooting for you. Like you don't know how far this comment is going to go in terms of like helping me maybe like survive the day, survive this entire period. And I think we all need a bit more of that.
Yeah, we need more like cheerleaders. I think everyone can be each other's cheerleaders. It's just whether we choose or not to be that person, right?
Correct. I was just going to add that like, I think a lot of times people are like, now we're very scared of getting like cancelled and stuff like that, right? So like we see something that maybe we don't agree with online, but we like, I don't want to say it because I'm scared that like somebody will call me out, correct? Yeah.
So I think for me, my main takeaway is to, you know, use the social media space as vibrantly as positively as you can. You know, I love conversations online. Like I really love debating about things, you know, like how COVID has affected all of us. You know, it's like a support system, yet forum, yet debate area, all in the same place. And I think that conversations like this, like, it gives me life. Like really all these like, you know, critical thinkers are coming up together and discussing on like real issues, or even you know, simple as girls bonding over guys, or like talking about any small thing, like exactly what you guys do on Something Private Pod as well. All these gives me life. Like it should be that way. It is a better place, but it's up to us ultimately to control the space and to you know, whether we want to value add it or we want to bring it down. So I think the power is really in our hands, and we just need to be aware of this power.
You know, you build a community that you want, and just be vocal, be a cheerleader, you know, and it will really go far.
Yay. Thanks so much, guys. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us. Thank you.